Hello, and welcome to Studio 415. On today's show, you'll get an update on how masks at Carroll have upset people on both sides of the debate. You'll hear how one nearby school district went fully virtual, and you'll hear if it could happen here. And you'll see how the boys' tennis teams are doing so far this season. All of that and more coming up next.
This is about the individual freedom that a lot of people in this room sacrificed for.
We were up to 12% of our student body was missing because of either quarantine or illness.
Well, the precedent we set this year was for royalty to be as equal as possible.
Welcome to Studio 415. I'm Hudson Zom. To mask or not to mask, that is the question. With the return of the mask mandate comes the return of debate about the place that masks have in public schools. In my story, I take a look into Carroll High School and the events regarding the mask mandate. On August 30th, the Northwest Allen County School Board decided in a 3-2 vote that the mask mandate would be reinstated. With the controversial return of the mandate came the reappearance of protests. On the morning of September 1st, protesters gathered on the corner of Carroll and Bethel Road. Many protesters held signs opposing the face masks that were to be seen during the student commute to school. This was the second time protesters have come to Carroll High School to protest about a mask mandate. As school started, the protests didn't end. Claire South, a study hall teacher, claims that she was fired due to refusing to wear a mask. Masks are not required when 6 feet or more is maintained between individuals. South says she was 6 feet and 8 inches away from the nearest desk, meaning she would be allowed to remove her mask per the mask requirements.
He said, no, you can either put a mask on or resign again. And I said, well, I am complying, so that won't be held against me. I'm complying with the rules that have already been set. I'm not going to comply with something that you're making up today for no good reason. So I also informed them that it is not a resignation, it is a fire.
On September 10th, protesters gathered once more in front of Carroll High School. This time, they were not just here to hold signs. The protesters were promoting the September 10th National March for Free Choice. Protesters were encouraging students to walk out at 10 a.m. to protest the lack of choice in masking. Despite the encouragement, many students still didn't agree with the premise.
Go away. Honestly, we don't need you bringing your toddlers and just standing outside with signs. I mean, we don't need that. I mean, it's not going to do anything. Students don't have a choice on that, and just talk about it at the board meeting. We don't need you standing outside of school.
Finally, on the 13th of September, the school board had its first meeting since the mandate was made. Parents, students, and even small children gathered to oppose the mandate. The board encouraged the audience to remain civil, but not everyone could comply. When volunteers were given 2 minutes to voice their opinions, many times school board members were insulted, and on one occasion, a police officer had to escort a speaker out. While some were critical towards the board members.
Secondly, I learned this week that there's absolutely no equal education outside of accepting your mandate.
Others present at the meeting voiced their support to the school board.
So I just wanted to once again use my 2 minutes to express my gratitude for the excellent leadership that we enjoy and are blessed with here at NACS.
Northwest Allen County Schools' mask mandate will stay until fall break. Until then, Chargers will have to stay masked up. For Studio 415, I'm Hudson Zom. As the school year progresses, Carroll High School administrators are faced with making tough decisions regarding COVID-19. Studio 415 reporter Harrison Rudolph joins us in the studio with local district's decision.
After Chair Busco's students started in-person learning, the administration decided to temporarily switch to virtual education. I had the opportunity to speak with decision makers at NACS about the possibility of a shutdown at Carroll. After a 2-week-long shutdown to slow the spread of COVID-19, Smith Green Community Schools had returned to in-person learning. Now, as SGCS goes back to in-person learning, concerns regarding a shutdown of Carroll High School have been raised by students.
Definitely is nervousing to me because I do terribly when I'm online, and it's better to be in an environment with people and teachers.
Despite fears of another shutdown, NACS Superintendent Dr. Chris Himsel doubts that another shutdown, permanent or temporary, will occur.
I'm very hopeful that we'll avoid another shutdown, and everything that we've been doing is to try to keep kids in school, and that's what we've been doing now for 2 years.
Along with the district-wide temporary mask mandate on August 13th, the district is taking other measures to slow the spread of COVID-19.
At this point, what we have in place is we have maximized our filtering ability through the HVAC. We're trying to maximize the amount of distance between kids and do the mask requirements, as well as the clean hands in, clean hands out, frequent opportunities to wash hands, and that seems to be keeping things in check.
These measures seem to be working, as the district has reported a decrease in COVID cases and quarantines. With cases decreasing and a mask requirement in effect, a shutdown of Carroll High School doesn't seem likely. However, students and staff should still take measures to protect one another. With Studio 415, I'm Harrison Rudolph.
After a year and a half of COVID, Carroll is slowly returning to normal. With homecoming finally upon us, students and staff were excited to experience homecoming court again. Studio 415 reporter Malachi Wilkins joins me in the studio with more on a big homecoming court change.
Thanks, Hudson. In years past, homecoming has been a highlight of the school year for many students, but last year, issues were raised concerning gender in the election of homecoming king and queen. 2021 is the year that they address those issues. This year, homecoming royalty was one of the school's many advances towards more equality. In an attempt to become more inclusive towards the LGBTQ community, Carroll Student Council voted to introduce homecoming royalty this year instead of the traditional homecoming queen and king.
I would say drawing upon past experience, was in Fort Wayne Community Schools for 22 years. A few years ago, we transitioned to more of a homecoming royalty, where it wasn't a specific king or queen or two individuals that were voted in. It was more of a court, and all those individuals were recognized individually as a group.
Senior and student body president Tom Nguyen offers his opinion on homecoming, saying that he can't wait to see the outcome of the event.
I love the homecoming court. I know everyone that's on it, and they're all really, really good representations of Carroll, and I can't wait to see how they do for royalty. There's so many people on court that I would love to see win. There are a lot of really, really deserving people. I can't pin it down to just two people, and I'll just have to leave that up to the student body to decide.
Senior Tommy O'Neill offers his support towards fellow classmate and friend Gavin Watkins in anticipation for homecoming royalty.
I want Gavin Watkins to win. It's my boy. I think it's cool to have like a special needs person on the court, and it helps like with the inclusion of special needs kids here at Carroll. It shows like how inclusive we are with everybody. It's really nice.
Congratulations, Maddox Grimal and Gavin Watkins on their first ever homecoming royalty court win. I'm Malachi Wilkins from Studio 415.
Carroll High School's boys tennis team has been having another great season so far. Studio 415 reporter Nathan Cutler has more information on why the season has been successful.
Thank you, Hudson. The boys tennis team is coming off a 16-5 season, making it to the regional semifinals last year. Now with a new season underway, the Chargers are working to go farther.
While school has seemingly returned to normal since the events of 2020, our own Carroll Charger tennis team has been waging war against the other high schools in the Fort Wayne Regional Boys Tennis Tournament. With strong win streaks in the early season, the boys in blue have been working their way to the top, currently sitting 12th in the state standings with a record of 14-2. Head tennis coach Kyle Stoffel expects an overall great season with excellence in performance from his players.
We hope to have a good season. We're currently ranked 10th in the state. We look to win sectional like we typically do, and hopefully beat Homestead and Regional and make it semi-state this year.
The tennis players share the same opinions as Coach Stoffel in regards to their performance and success this season, especially against their rivals in Homestead High School.
So I really enjoy all the people on the team. They're all really nice and a lot of fun to be around, especially during invitationals and after matches.
I think everyone played really good tonight. I think doubles really clutching up, and three singles really clutching up, really brought us together.
The Carroll Charger tennis team's future looks bright as the boys in blue recently took home a win against Homestead High School and now look to conquer the sectionals. For Studio 415, I'm Nathan Cutler.
With fall sports underway, the Charger Rugby squad looks to have a comeback season. Studio 415 reporter Henry Burgett has more on the story.
Rugby is a Carroll sport that plays in the fall and spring seasons. It's a sport in which you can only pass the ball backwards and there's constant action. In the fall, rugby is played with only 7 people, while in the spring, rugby is played with 15 people.
So it's a lot easier to make a move and get a long breakaway rather than in 15s. There's a lot of just like short, kind of like ground pounding with the big guys.
While the rugby team may be associated with Carroll, it isn't actually sponsored by the school. With that in mind, Any high schooler can play on that team, even those that don't attend CHS.
We had a few students on the team last year coming from New Haven, Columbia City, and it was just cool to see guys coming out from all around the area that can play on the team, whether they go to Carroll or not.
Ricky believes that rugby shouldn't go unrecognized and suggests that the sport should be taken more serious by the school, stressing the hard work and sacrifices the team makes.
It is hard being a student athlete, no matter what sport you play, of course. We come out here and practice 2 times a week and then play on weekends, just like lots of other school teams do, and I feel like we deserve the same recognition just because we're putting in those same hours, we're putting in that same work as student athletes, and I feel like it does go unnoticed by the school.
If you're interested in rugby or want to see what it's all about, the Carroll rugby team practices here on Carroll Road on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you just want to show support, their tournaments are on Sundays. For Studio 415, I'm Henry Brigette.
That's all we have for today. Thanks for watching. If there's a story you'd like us to cover, please let us know. For all of us here at Studio 415, have a great week, Carroll.
Sunny days and friendly smiles, walk the halls with me. Studio 415.